evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, February 3rd, 2015, and welcome to Prepper Chicks After Dark. We are here to play some Conflicted the Survival card game. What is that, you ask? A deck of 52 cards, survival scenarios on each card that you can use to kick people out of your group if you need to, especially if they disagree with you. Well, it could be easier, right? So, it is a full moon tonight. And we're already off to a good start. So there's three of us on tonight. So it looks like we're missing a few people, and we're not sure where their bodies are hid right now. But back with us, Jared, are you with us tonight?
I am here. Hello, hello.
Hey, have you heard from anybody else?
I have not. No.
That's okay. We got this, right?
Absolutely.
Alrighty. So you want to tell everybody where you're from, who you're with, what your website is, and why you have so much noise in your background.
Oh, you can hear a little baby screaming, huh?
Either that
She's
or
a noisy
wife.
one. Yeah, I hope not. Better not be the wife. Yeah, this is Jared. I'm with flashbacks.com, and we basically build fully stocked bug-out bags, survival kits ready to go. And then also, if you already have a kit fully stocked, we also sell just the bags and just the gear. And we're out here in Arizona. Good to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Looks like the chicks are representing in the chat room tonight, so it's awesome to see them. And Lord knows why they're here. So, without further ado, Mr. Funky.
Good evening, everybody.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing fairly well. How are you?
Just fairly well.
Yeah, well, I'm a little tired. I cut a lot of wood today and, got some stuff cleaned up for the girlfriend and her boss. So just a little tired. It's cool. I'll be up till about 11, and then I'll be.
You better be awake till 11. Or wait, that's 12.
11 my time. That'll be an hour after your show goes
Yeah,
on.
I'm heading straight to bed as soon as I'm done here. Because I am tired. It's been a long couple weeks. But other than that, life is good, eh?
Yes. Where's everybody else from the show?
No freaking clue. Tried to get a hold of Geek. He's got a fail in his line. So, and JD is hit or miss. We never rely upon him other than he still owes me a lot of alcohol. And Alika is still in the process of unpacking from his move and whatnot. So, but we should have a special guest with us next week, and I'm not going to tell who it is.
Uh-oh.
Yay.
Surprise.
Just bring lots of ketchup is all I'm going to say. You guys can figure it out from there, but just bring lots of ketchup. So I actually have cards drawn tonight.
I do too.
Okay, well, why don't you go first?
No, women first, ladies first. Go ahead.
Jared, go ahead then.
Oh, jeez. I felt this one coming. I don't have a card yet. I'll let you guys go first.
Oh, fail! Okay, here you go. First card. What is the one skill? Why am I echoing? What is the one skill you wish you had in case the world went into post-apocalyptic mode tomorrow, and why? So, Mr. Funky, one skill you do not have.
One skill I do not have?
Yeah.
I can't give birth. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. That was
We
probably.
could try.
No, one skill that I do not have if shit were to hit the fan tomorrow that I would want. I'd like to know how to fly.
You're like with what kind of apparatus?
Helicopter, airplane, you name it. I mean, anything that challenges gravity.
I do that all the time. I didn't know.
No, that's not. I mean, that's the ones. I took a helicopter around the base one time when I was in the Army. That's it. I mean, I don't know how to fly. You know what I mean? I'd really like to know how to fly.
Okay, that works. But if we have an EMP, or is that skill going to be necessary?
I'm pretty sure that there will still be stuff out there. I mean, people think this. I don't know where they got this idea that if an EMP hits the Earth, that everything electronics is going to completely stop working. That's not the way shit happens.
Really?
Most cars out there now, unless it's like an X20 or bigger, most cars out now are shielded against electromagnetic pulse. So, I mean, unless you're straight underneath the nuclear weapon, or it's an X20. A lot of electronic shit's still going to work, people. Just throwing it out there.
My iPad won't, though.
It depends on where you hide it.
I don't have one, so.
Oh, wah, wah, wah. Do I have to break out the soundboard?
No, yeah, actually, I like your soundboard, so if you want to, go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Jared, what do you want to do?
Oh, that's a great question.
Of course it is.
Yeah, absolutely. The first thought that came to my head, well, I won't mention my first thought. I'll mention my second thought. The second thought was I need to work more on my primitive fire skills. I'm good with the basics, flint and steel, stuff like that, but I've never done the bow drill before. And so I think that's
this summer.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to make a set and prove it. Start fire with it more than one time, and then that shit's going in my bug out bag.
A bow drill?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. I think that's something. We see it a lot in the survival shows and survival manuals and books that we have and everything. But how many of us have done it? Maybe a lot. I don't know, but I know that that's something I personally have never done, and that's something that I'd like to do. Is basically learn how to start fire from nothing.
Well, it is a lot harder than people think it is. It takes a lot of time. Right. You have to get specific wood, so because specific wood is important. So, but yeah, awesome. If I had to guess, if I had to choose something, I want to go more in depth medically. So I want to do surgery and dissect things and pull things out.
Fantastic.
That kind of path. I can fix most anything else, boo-boos and whatnot, but if I had to take an appendix out, I don't want to be reading the manual while I'm attempting it. So.
Oh my.
You asked for it.
I wasn't sure. Kind of sounded like Jared there for a minute. I'm going through the chat room.
Looks like we got the echo gone. That's good.
It was you.
Yes.
It was me.
Yeah, anyone that doesn't wear headphones is probably going to echo.
Oh, no, I have headphones on.
Oh, right on.
Well, I think everybody's good now. We'll ask the chat room if you can hear the echo anymore. But, yeah, I mean, I think more people need to dig into more of the major medical stuff as opposed to just curing a common cold or, a stubbed toe or something. Because that's going to be in short supply one way or the other. So, we off to the second question then.
Okay.
I did that one, so Funky, it's your turn.
Okay. Is ambushing an equal force fighting against you an intelligent move, or does that make you less honorable?
So honor is at stake, huh?
When it comes to battle, when it comes to war,
is honor important?
I don't know about honor.
For the sake of survival, would you risk your honor?
Absolutely.
Especially with your loved ones in check.
Absolutely. And ambush is a fighting technique. There's nothing about honor. When somebody's trying to take your life, there's nothing about honor in that.
Do you think our military nowadays gets caught up into that, especially when it comes to fighting against certain unethical? Is there such a thing as unethical in war?
Yes. Killing civilians, killing unarmed civilians, that's unhonorable. That's definitely crossing the line.
But our military does that all the time.
I know that. So does the Israeli army.
I think that mutilation is unethical or unhonorable. I think killing someone, maybe throwing them in a pit, whatever you want to do, but mutilating a body, that goes too far in my opinion. You're enjoying it a little bit too much.
So it all comes down to how much you enjoy it, huh? Now, because I'm asking because one person's enjoyment might be a little far stretched compared to someone else's.
True. There's sick people everywhere.
Well, what's in the news today? Did you guys catch that? I saw it real fast and then I was off. But there was a pilot from Jordan,
pilot.
Yeah, that was burned alive.
If you watch that video, and I'm not saying that it's fake, but if you watch that video all the way through toward the end, and I usually don't watch anybody killing anybody else, but I just had to watch this because so far all the things that they've thrown out there have been pretty fake.
Yeah, I do.
Did you see the body melt?
I
The
haven't
body
watched that one
melted,
yet.
and it looked like the bottom jaw dripped off the skull. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Anyway,
I try and desensitize myself to a lot of things, so I'm not shocked
well,
if something would happen.
I don't want to lose my humanity over that.
I haven't lost mine. I'm still pretty,
No, I'm just saying that's why I try not to watch any of that.
well, you can't take it back once you do see it. I will assure you of that. Because there's
Sure.
a lot of things in my head I wish I could get rid of, and there's just no way.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So,
You got to be careful what you Google sometimes. That's for sure.
oh, that's just porn sites, Jared.
Well, I mean, for example, here's my example. So, I'm here in Arizona, and obviously we're a border state, and it's a big concern of a lot of people, including myself. And so I started, looking up the cartel violence and things like that that's kind of been going on. And gosh, I mean, the things that pop up that you can see is just really, very morbid and very, it's the lowest of the low in terms of what these guys are capable of doing, and what they've done is what I should say.
Do you think any of that is manipulated by our media just to make us more scared?
Oh, yeah.
Such as?
Everything you hear, Ebola, ISIS, Al Qaeda, weather. What was that?
Oh, good Lord. Yes, we've
Was that the
died
winter storm Linus that just came through and
Six
they said it was
times.
going to dump 10 feet of snow on everybody and wah, wah, wah. Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem with that then is everybody, they scare you to death. So you go out and you act like idiots and you get prepared as best as you can. And then it's a big letdown and everybody's making fun and cranking on the weatherman. And then the next storm that comes along does, in fact, harm quite a few people because they've become complacent to it.
Well, that's their fault.
The sky is falling. The sky is falling, essentially.
So do you think that'll play into effect if we do have a downgrade situation? Do you think people are becoming so complacent now that even if something was going to happen, they just wouldn't believe it?
Yeah.
There's always going to be denial. Definitely.
Spring just had a good point. People panic. You can explain anything to somebody one-on-one or maybe even two-on-one, but if you get a collective of 15 people in a room and you try to explain something to them, it's going to go straight over their heads. There's something about if you get more than 10 people together, they turn into a group of idiots. Look at any sports event. You can see that plainly.
Well, I try not to watch sports any more than I have to. But, okay. So any other further thoughts on that?
I kind of wanted to mention what you were talking about with the media manipulating and kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of exploiting certain things or maybe even making it bigger than it really is. I definitely agree with that, and I like how you said some things because you'll notice there's some really, really critical, important news that we don't get from the media that, we could really hear and we need to know about, but because it doesn't fit their template, their liberal, far-left agenda, typically, they're not going to show it, and so you have to look elsewhere to find that news.
Do you think there's a little bit of something we can pull out of any news, though, that might not maybe be true necessarily, but it could be pointing us in a direction they want us to look at that we need to be aware of?
Do you mean like they're leading us along, trying to get us to follow a certain type of bias?
And you're aware of it, and
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think all of us recognize that clearly. Like even when the president speaks, it's so funny. We can listen to the president speak now, and it's so funny. We can be in a room and we can say, okay, we know that's a lie. Oh, okay, this is a lie that he just said. He's not going to do this. So it's kind of funny how you could actually pick stuff out.
Yeah, but he's still the freaking president. If we can do that, then why the hell is he still sitting in office?
Well, for one, there's a lot of sheep in the country. There's massive amounts of sheep, and
he was not elected. He was selected.
Yep, pretty much so.
It didn't matter. Nobody could have showed up at the polls, and he still would have won by 5%.
Well, Salty in the chat room brings up everyone should be condition yellow at all times. How can people get to condition yellow and stay there and keep their sanity? Because I get questioned about that all the time. It's like, how can you live like that? Aren't you scared all the time? Blah, blah, blah. What do you guys think?
No, don't ever live in fear, man. Don't ever live in fear.
Well,
just
how do you get to condition
situational
yellow?
awareness, man? You just have to be situationally aware. I mean, there's going to be certain times in your life, like right now, where I'm sitting right now, I have earphones in, and I can barely hear what's going on in the room next to me, let alone out in my property. But I'm comfortable here, right? I know
what makes you
what's going on.
comfortable, though. What can you do? I mean, what is there in your life that makes you like that without that fear?
I quit giving fucks.
That's a whole nother show.
I did. I mean, you know, at this point in my life, I'm 46 years old, man. And the only person that I really have to take care of is my mom. Okay. And I know that she's in a place now where she's taken care of. And if something were to happen to me tomorrow, I don't care. I really don't care.
I think a lot of us agree with that. Besides the fact, if you get to condition yellow and you've been there, it's just second nature.
Right. It's like muscle memory.
Yeah, and don't you feel more at ease being in condition yellow than you would if you weren't?
Yes, I want to be situationally aware, and I bitch at my girlfriend about this all the time because she'll throw her earphones in and jump on a mower and take off, you know, cutting grass at one of the properties or whatever. And she doesn't know shit all was going. I mean, she's into the music and driving around, and she's doing a really good job cutting the grass. But somebody could run up behind her and take her out, and she'd never even know they were there. Right?
Yeah. Other than sex, is there any reason not to be in condition yellow at all times?
In this day and time, no.
Church. Come on.
Church? Oh, hell no.
Church.
I'm in condition orange or red, but in church.
Hell yeah, you're
you really?
surrounded by a bunch of hypocrites.
Oh, wait a minute. Don't go down that road. But I'm saying that with the way churches are targeted, there is no way. There is no way. I know where the exits are at. I know what's going on behind me. I'm sitting in a strategic place, so if something would go down, I can have cover and concealment if I need to. Church is no different than any place else I go to.
I don't try to hang out with more than 15 people at any one given time.
Yeah.
I'm just not a big crowd person. I never really have been a big crowd person, but especially nowadays, you'll never catch me going to a ball game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never catch me going to, no kind of huge sporting event, no kind of Million Man March. Nope, not going to be there. Just not going to do it. Not going to do it.
No Prepper Fest here in Arizona. We have one every year,
No.
or one or two of them actually.
Nope. I'll send a video, but I won't be there in person.
I think I'm going to go out and see JD. I think in Kansas at Prepper Fest, but I figure
I really wouldn't show up at a Prepper Fest. That's like a DHS playground. Fuck that.
But you don't give a fuck. Remember at this point, they all know we're preppers anyway. What does it matter?
I mean, you're not supposed to stick your neck out either, right? I mean,
I'm not going to go in with my guns blazing saying, "Hey, guess who I am?" I just walk in nonchalantly and say hi to JD, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah, and I think there's a certain. I definitely think there's a certain amount of strength in with numbers, and I think it's important.
There's also a lot of more, possibilities that could go wrong too.
Exactly.
Right. But I think it's good to join forces with other people and to, build coalitions of other people that are into prepping and preparedness, because that only, in my opinion, only helps our cause, only helps the movement.
But
if we're all out there individually and kind of silent and quiet in our corners, which I'm not saying we are, but I'm just saying if we do that, I think we can lose ground.
But how do you trust other people? How do you trust other people to bring them into your group, though? That's not easy.
It's not easy.
Trust them, and then 2 years later, you find out that they were stitching to the FBI the whole fucking
hell?
time.
You
know
trust
what I mean?
them.
How many stories of that?
No.
How many stories like that have you read?
Bullshit. You trust their asses, and 17 years later, they turn around and walk out. You want to go down that route? We'll go down that route.
Or you trust them, yeah. or you trust them and you bring them into your group, and then like 2 or 3 years later, you find out, wow, this person's really not who I thought they were, and they're acting pretty crazy, and then you break ties with that person, and that's actually happened, you know.
But
So
now they
it's
know all your
tough.
secrets.
Well, and they also know that, I'm heavily armed and I have lots of ammunition and lots of firepower, and they know my mentality as well.
They
So
also know you
if
sleep on the
they,
left side of the bed and where your guns are kept and,
And
everything
if you've
else.
been with them, I mean, yeah, and if you've been with them long enough, they know your daily routine. They know how you drive to work. They know what routes you take. They know, when you're going to be gone and when you're going to be home. And that's why I don't do any of that shit. My routine, my daily routine stays on a constant flux. I don't do anything the same. Sometimes you'll drive by my house at 3 o'clock in the morning and every fucking light in this place will be on. You know what I mean? And I'll be out in the yard walking around and, hollering at my dog and shit. That's why I'm glad I really don't have any close neighbors, because they'd probably bitch a lot. And then I'd have to tell them, well, you need to get away from me. But, I don't try to drive into town and back the same way all the time. I just don't do that. Keep yourself frosty all the time. Stay what's the word I'm looking for? I'm kind of at a loss for words tonight. That usually doesn't happen to me.
It's the
don't
full moon.
maybe don't be a creature of habit. Yeah.
There you go. Don't be a creature of habit.
Okay, well, can you do that with people that are in your family, your immediate family? Because they're gonna possibility of turning around and screwing you in the back too. Then what are you gonna do?
Yeah, well, aim for the head.
Right.
You better get a shovel ready.
Hey man, I like I said, my mom's the only one I got left that I care. I couldn't give two squirts of piss what happens to my sister. I just couldn't. And I know for a fact that she's not going to show up here looking for me to help her, because if she was on fire, I wouldn't give her a glass of water.
Okay,
So
how much?
that's just the way that goes, man. I've got people in my life that mean more to me than my sister ever has,
Well,
and they're not even blood.
I can agree
So-
with that. But how far do you trust your gut?
I trust my gut completely.
Do you
I
think
trust my
women?
gut more than I trust my
Yeah.
brain.
Do you think women and male and female, their gut instincts are different?
It depends on how you were raised, girl. It really does. It depends on how you were raised, because those kind of instincts, I mean, fear of life and death kind of instinct, that's just natural. That's born in you. But the way you trust people and the way you judge people, that's all learned behavior. It really is. It's learned behavior, and you learn to change yourself over time as you get burnt by certain people, and you know what I mean? So you change yourself over time, but at its core, it's basically how your mom and dad treated people, and you saw them, how their friendships developed in front of you as you were growing up. That's basically how it is. That's the way I see it anyway. I might be completely wrong, and Freud might say something totally different in one of his books, but
Well, women have this sixth sense, I think, that men don't have, that, makes the hair on the back of
Really?
your neck stand up. Yeah, I hugely agree with that. So
really,
yeah.
I'm waiting for my little bling to go off on my phone then, because I don't know about that. Well, I don't know, man.
That's tough.
Explain.
That's really a tough
Go
one.
a little deeper into that.
Like
Why
you were
do you
saying,
think
I think
they have?
some people have it and some people don't.
I think more women have it than men do, though. I think inherently women have the ability to assess a situation based upon feeling that's accurate, as opposed to men having that.
What kind of situation?
Let's say walking down a dark alley or someplace uncomfortable. We can, or even necessarily meeting new people. You can instantly, well, I can anyways. I've got damn good judgment against meeting new people,
Oh, I
and
consider
I've
myself
never
a
been
good character
inaccurate
judge.
there yet.
Mm-mm.
Is that your ding?
Okay, yeah. Crystal said you're right. So she said, she's right.
Well, of course I'm right.
Okay. Women's intuition is what she called it.
Okay.
Women's intuition.
Yeah, she knows. She's a smart
Okay.
girl.
Okay.
Well, I don't know why she's dating you, but
Thank-
you know.
Ooh,
Oh,
damn.
heck!
Wow.
I'll give her that.
You. Okay.
But even after all the shit I've been through in my life, I still have damn good judgment. Actually, it gets more tuned in with the more shit that you do go through, I think.
Yeah, you become more aware, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how good your women's intuition is when I go to shoot you in the ass with a paintball when you get down here.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You don't know why she's dating me.
Well, I do, because you could read the phone book and make her melt. Does there need to be anything else?
Moving on to the next card.
Do you have a card, or do you want me to pull one?
I just shuffled and got one out.
Go for it.
Oh, God. Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
Your last loved one in the world has contracted a deadly disease that can be spread to you. To take care of her before she passes would certainly mean your death. But if you don't, no one else will. What would you do in this situation if it happened to you?
Jared, step up to the plate.
This one's easy for me. If this is my last loved one in the world, well, I know you're going to throw a curveball at me, but I'll just say it anyways. If this is my last loved one in the world, I think I would tend to them and make sure they go out, the best way they possibly can. So that's probably what I'm going to go with on my initial answer. But I already know there's a curveball coming, I'm sure. What do you think?
No curveball on the card anyway. I don't know what Lori's going to throw in there, but
I'm not saying anything. So you would you would take care of them.
Go ahead. My first reaction would be to take care of them. I mean, if they're literally my last loved one, whether it's a son or a daughter or my wife or my father or mother, then sometimes there's things that are more important than surviving or living. Going on. I think sometimes relationships can be more important than that. So I personally would go down with them.
Well,
Lori?
I would hopefully have the ability. It said I could possibly contract the disease. Doesn't mean I'm going to.
I don't know. It says to take care of her before she passes would certainly mean your death.
I would agree with Jared. I don't think I could allow them to suffer without showing them some kind of human compassion. And I'm not sure how you could go about that any other way.
Mm-mm. I'd be right there.
Yeah. I don't know what it would take for me not to be there other than to be, duct taped and handcuffed and drug away.
Yep.
Well, the curveball that I was thinking of, which I thought might come up, was what if there's, 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 people that are really depending on you, that you're a big influence in their life or their situation or the group, and they're counting on you, to lead them or to help them. You know what I mean?
Would that not be considered your loved one? So you're gonna choose between a loved one versus an acquaintance?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying.
So you guys are on your own.
Make it a little
if you haven't been paying attention enough to learn. Yeah.
I read a book.
You're on your own.
I agree.
I read a book last year, and I don't remember what the name of it was or who the author was, but it was a collection of stories about people that have survived extreme circumstances, accidents, whatever. Somebody fell out of a plane, all kinds of weird shit.
The Survivors Club. That's an excellent book.
Is that what it? I don't know if that was what it's called.
Yes. If anybody out there has the ability to get that book on Amazon or on their Kindle, The Survivors Club.
Well, it talked about
very excellent book.
What the common denominator in all of these stories was, and it came down to these people that survived felt a great need to help someone else. So in a survival situation, usually it's the doctors, the nurses, someone along that line that feels they're needed greatly. Those are the ones that survive the longest. But I really don't know. Would you want to be around to see your loved one suffer, or would you want to go first, Jimmy?
Oh,
If
wow.
it's inevitable, if it's inevitable and there's no way around it, would
If
you
well,
want to go
I,
first or see your loved ones die?
are you saying like we all caught a disease at the same time or something? Or
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, or um,
oof, man, that's a hard one. Wow. I think I would stay around and help them on their way. I think that I'm strong enough that I could I could handle that. And then I'd just eat a bullet or something, jump on the Harley and ride it into a freeway piling at 100.
great. There's a mess the rest of us have to clean up or hope for rain.
There you go.
Jared,
Nice hot fire.
what's your thoughts on that?
I would certainly be the last one to go. I always like to hope and to think that there's always a chance in any situation. So, if you never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So, I would like to be the last one just to make sure that everything is, as good as it can be for whatever's going on, and then see what happens.
She's not paying attention to you. She's typing in chat.
Whatever.
I know. I hear that click, click,
Do
click.
you see something going on in chat? No, I'm talking about glow in the dark tampons on another post somewhere. That's
Oh, very nice.
a whole nother story.
Interesting.
What would your choice in sticking around be deterred anyway by the age of the person that's with you? So if it was a young child, would it change your mind versus say your mom?
No.
Not for me.
Hmm.
What about you, Lori?
I'm not sure. I'm a wuss.
Well, that's a cheap way out.
I know. There is no way. I would stick around to the last person was just for the compassion factor.
Yes.
Nothing else.
You got that mommy instinct.
Yeah. I would be the last one down.
Nurturer.
And I would do whatever I had to alleviate anything, any fear, any pain, whatever, for anyone. So,
And and aren't we already practicing that? I'm sure you've practiced this, time and time again, with your own family, and so I don't think it would be any different.
yeah, you might
in
want to
this
clarify that right now because we don't sit
Well,
around practicing
Oh
dying.
my.
no, when someone's sick, when a child's sick or
Oh, hell
someone's
no. Oh, no, no,
know?
no. There's a difference there. If I've got a child that's puking and he's like 17, 18, get the hell out of the bathroom. Yeah, get in the bathroom, get your head in the toilet, whatever you have to do. But by God, do not puke on my carpet. It's all I got
Right.
to say. There's no compassion
Right.
there. There's a huge difference there.
My ones are little, so I'm thinking of little ones.
Oh, hell no. I remember when my son projectile vomited across the room. And he was, well,
Oh,
8, 9 years old. It's like, get your ass in the bathroom right now. Get in the bathtub. And then made him clean it up. You gotta get
breaking news for everybody in case they're paying attention to what's going on out there in the world. Jordan has just executed 2 of their detainees in response to the pilot being burnt alive.
Oh,
Well.
that's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that's going to do to?
We're watching World War III unfold right before our very eyes. Everybody,
We have been.
if you don't believe that, you're not paying attention to what's going on. I mean, this is all going to lead to a huge world conflict. This
Absolutely.
is the war for the one world religion starting right now.
Well, and to continue what you were saying, I think it's been in the works for quite some time. The stones, the pieces are being moved, the pieces are being set. So it's definitely has begun.
Yes. And NATO and the United States are trying to surround Russia with military equipment. And that is a very, very stupid thing to do.
Back Putin into a
and they're
corner.
not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And I'm telling you right now, and I say this on my show, and I say this on Dave's show all the time, Putin's not going to stand there and take a shot in the mouth and just take it. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. This guy's an ex-KGB. He's not going to stand there and just let his country get struck without any kind of retaliation. And I don't think he's going to let it happen first. He'll make the first move. When he feels it's imminent, it's on.
He's got balls of steel that a lot of people out there don't have.
Yes, he does.
Well, how do you think Japan's going to play into this? Because they got drug into this.
I don't. You know, they're changing their whole parliament over there. There's a parliamentary edict out there right now in Japan to make them an aggressor nation. They've got it in their constitution that they're a non-aggressor nation. That they would never start a war. They would never make an aggressive move toward anybody. Never make a first strike toward anybody. And they're changing that now. There's something in their parliament. There's some kind of write-up going through their parliament. I don't know their whole,
So if you try to clean away all the bullshit that's going on, because a lot of people are right now just standing there like, oh my God, there's so much going on out there. So much.
Japan,
everywhere you look.
Yeah.
Wash
Japan,
it all
if
away.
Japan makes any kind of hostile move toward anybody, China's just going to smash them into the ocean.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't think, they're not in a very good position.
Well, the only reason they've got big balls is because they think we're going to back them up. But if you wash all the bullshit away and get to, what the hell is it called? Zero. The one thing that either they don't want us to see or what's going on. What do you think that is? Ground zero. What is it right now?
I have an answer for you on my opinion on that one.
Go ahead.
I think it's two big players besides the U.S. and maybe Europe. I think it's China and Russia. I think they're in this big game together, and I think they're basically fighting proxy wars in the Middle East, against us currently. And I think it's been going on for a long time, and I think it's going to continue to go on for a while until they basically want to show themselves as who they are, and that is two massive, massive powers seeking global domination, is my opinion.
So you think Russia and China are in bed together?
Absolutely.
They have been for 50 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but do you think they have each other's backs? Or do you think
Yes.
that really?
Yes.
To a certain point, I believe that these are two different nations with two different theologies, with some things that are the same, some things that are different. So eventually, it's going to come down to every man for themselves. I think in the very end. But initially, I think they're going to join forces to try to take out the U.S. because we are such a threat.
Do you think Russia and China are going to join forces to take out the United States?
Yes.
Absolutely.
The only time that Russia and China will fight with each other is when the West is done and gone. Then they will fight for who's going to be the king shit.
I think Russia's going to stay on their own more. I think China's going to side with Iran and a few other places.
Well, that's the whole thing about Putin, man. Putin doesn't want to be the world's leader. He doesn't want that. He wants everybody to just, leave Russia the fuck alone. He's like, you guys can do whatever you want to do out there. Just leave us out of it. But they're not going to do it.
I don't know. I think Putin's too smart to get tangled up with China to the point where he doesn't have a choice but to follow along. I think China's going to side with Iran and some of the other Muslim states over there.
Yeah, and again, I really believe that we're already fighting a proxy war, and Iran and these other countries are Putin or Russia's puppets in some ways.
There aren't too many Muslims in China. Just to let you know, I mean, the Uyghur faction is the only Muslims in China, and they're considered a terrorist organization there too. So I mean, I don't see where the whole Iran thing. I mean, Iran and Russia have been best buddies for quite a hot minute too. So
we shall see, huh?
Everybody that doesn't have a central bank owned by the Rothschilds is against us now. So that's the way it's going to go.
All right, let's go on to our next question. All right, so hunger and starvation has swept over your camp for the past 8 days. You were just attacked by looters, and you managed to kill them off. They had some weapons on them, but no food. Most of your group is too weak to go on, and there's plenty of human flesh lying around. Would you eat the flesh of your enemies and feed them to your family, or not? And why? Mr. Funky?
No way, man. Cooties.
Cooties. Just kill the people that don't have cooties.
No, I've never had an inkling to taste human flesh, and I don't think I ever will. I don't think
it's a matter of getting a craving for it. I think it's you feel like you're starving, and your family's starving. So would you go as far as whipping out the barbecue sauce, like Fox says in the chat room, and making sure they have something in their system to tie you over until maybe you can find some food?
No, I would probably cut up the victims of my rage and use them as bait to draw in an animal and kill the animal and feed my family.
Jared, what would you do? He's choking on a thigh over there right now.
Yeah, this is one of those questions. I love this question because I've talked with a bunch of people that are really either for it or against it, and I've always been against it personally.
Why? Because you get the shakes.
No, it's not that you get the shakes. For me, that's going back to, and this is just my opinion, going back to the unethical or whatever you want to call it, the unhonorable side of things. I think there comes a certain point to where, do you really need to survive that bad? Are you willing to do anything, absolutely anything, to survive? And me personally, I don't think I would eat the flesh. I don't think I would cook it. I don't think I would eat it.
What about your kids? They're starving.
Well, then we all go down together, and that's how it goes, I guess. But
so you have the opportunity, okay? Because we know that there have been other humans that have or are currently eating human flesh, and that it will sustain you for a certain period of time. So you would allow your children to die of starvation as opposed to giving them something to nourish them for a small amount of time so that way you can find food.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yep. I would rather take my chances for that small amount of time and hope that I could find, an acorn, some earthworms, something, bugs, critters.
So why? Because you're still eating meat.
It's a humanity issue to me.
Yep. It's kind of the same for me, it's.
If you did not know what it was, how would that impact you? Like if somebody else in your group cooked it, you weren't aware of what it was, you ate it. How would that screw with your head?
Oh yeah. I would not be happy. I would not be a happy camper.
Well, I remember growing up, we had this pet goat, and it was a pet goat. I mean, it was something, as a kid you'd play with and, hang out with, and it came up missing one day. And, a few weeks later, we had beef roast, or so we thought, and turns out after we ate that we found out this was the goat that we had grown up with as kids.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember that. I will never forget that.
What would you think if it was your Aunt Zelma?
I'm not sure what I would do. I know how much the goat itself affected me. And it's not the fact that I would not eat goat, because I would eat goat, because I've eaten other goat that I wasn't attached to. I think, like you said, Jimmy, it's the humanity part where this was, as somebody that has grown up on a farm, you don't name something that you're going to eat.
That's right.
It's one of those things. It's kind of like, for me personally, where do you draw the line? It's that book, Patriots. Have you guys read that? Patriots by James Wesley Rawls. Fantastic book. And do you remember that scene in the book where there's these two dudes walking up, and there's like a stroller and there's like arms hanging out and there's different body parts that they find on them. They're essentially cannibals. I don't know if you remember that part or not. But in the book, these guys, they drop his guys because they're cannibals essentially. But it's kind of the same thing for me, If someone was rolling up next to your camp and you saw that they had a shopping cart full of body parts, how would you react to that? Would you feel threatened by them because they're cannibals?
Yes.
I would. But then, then you approach them with your gun pointing at them, and what do they say? They say, "Oh, we were starving. We had nothing else to eat." You know what I mean?
See, I'm not so sure if I wouldn't be able to do it just to get through until I could find some real food. I honestly would question that. And, it's going to have to come down to, does humanity come into play? We talked about this earlier in the show. If these people were trying to kill us and they're an enemy, would that change it?
Whether or not I ate them?
Well, if it's the only thing you have, let's say you're in the middle, it's winter time, and there is no food. You're in freaking, I don't know, Antarctica or someplace, and there's no way you're going to get food, and that's your only option.
Oh, jeez, man. You and your extreme scenarios, I tell
You still got to go out.
I'll eat the fucking guy. Okay, is that going to make us move on to the next question?
Well, here's the other part in the card too: is it's only been 8 days. You're not going to die of starvation in freaking 8 days.
No, you got 2 more weeks to go, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Suck
as
it up,
long as you
Buttercup.
have, it's the water is the important part. You have to have water.
Okay, I'm going to throw this in too. I don't know if either of you have read the book Alive or Survived. Or okay. Well, you guys know. I mean, when they interviewed those cats from that team that made it, they were like, when we saw that rescue plane come over the mountain, and we knew that we were like, we're alive. I mean, that was the only thing they wanted to do was get the fuck off of that mountain, and they didn't care what it took to get off of that mountain. And when the plane was flying over, they took pictures of them, and you could see bones laying out in the fuck. I mean, you could see the people that they had cut up and eaten. So you would have to be stuck into that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you would. And Gio brings up in the chat room, it's got to taste better than McDonald's. Lord knows what the hell you get there.
Well, yeah, but if you eat that dude, you're eating all the shit that he ate, man. I mean, what if the guy...
We do that now.
Most of his life.
We do that now.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there.
Any food we eat, Monsanto. I mean, who knows if it's even real food? Look at the pink slime in the beef and shit. Who knows what we're actually eating?
I know.
Unless you grow your own food.
Self-reliant.
Is cheese really cheese?
Oh, goodness, no. Catch us on fire.
The snozberries taste like snozberries, though.
I haven't had any.
Turning violet.
Penny.
Hey, that's one of my favorite shows. Leave that one alone. That one is brilliant. Okay. Are we done talking about eating people now?
I hope.
Yes, please.
Kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur.
Okay, last.
Kitty, sleepy kitty, purr, purr, purr.
All right, Funky.
Sorry.
Hands inside.
I am keeping...
Okay, last question, maybe. One of your friends has been shot in battle, and a field medic told you he will be paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of his life. This is a post-apocalyptic world you are living in, and your friend asks you to please have mercy on him and put him out of his misery. His wife and kids have already died, and all he wants to do is be with them instead of living in a world as unforgiving as this. Would you have mercy on your friend and kill him, or would you let him live, and why? Jared?
So, do I know that he has... So I know he can live, right?
A field medic said that he will be paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of his life. He's still alive, but paralyzed.
Surprise, motherfucker.
And it is a post-apocalyptic world. And
Just put a grenade pin between his teeth and tell him to wait 5 seconds and shake his head. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh gosh, yeah. This is a tough one.
Well, yeah. If it was easy, we wouldn't have you on the show.
Did we know the dude? I mean, was he like a super?
Oh yeah, he was a good friend.
It says it's one of your friends, and he's been shot and paralyzed. His wife and kids are gone. It's post-apocalyptic world, paralyzed from the neck down. Would you help him and show mercy? And would you kill him, or would you make it accessible somehow for him to do it himself, or what would you do?
He's paralyzed from the neck down, so he can't pick up the gun.
No, but Jimmy's going to put a
grenade pin between his teeth. Tell him to wait,
That might be a solution to this.
I'm going to have to go.
You can poll everybody at the medic camp and say, "Y'all hungry? I'll cap this fucker before you let you eat him."
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with. As of right now, I'd have to say no. I wouldn't kill him.
You would let him lay there and suck up resources.
I'd have to just let someone else be that person. I don't know. I'd let someone else do the execution. I wouldn't be able to do it, I don't think.
Jimmy, what would you do?
I'd probably shoot him. Be honest with you, I'd probably shoot him. I just hope his last word wasn't wait. Right as I pulled the trigger. So I'd probably shoot him. I mean, if the cat's going to be a veggie laying there and he's asking for it anyway.
And we're not in the world that we know today.
Right.
So you don't know the medical resources that we have.
Right. We're not going to make our way to Johns Hopkins or nothing. So,
right. Do you think what would be the most humane way to alleviate them of their burden?
Bullet to the head.
Yeah, one right up his nose.
Oh, we've seen those hit and miss.
No, not the way I'd do. I mean, not going back at an angle, toward the center of his cranium.
So the question in the chat room, would the answer change if he was only paralyzed from the waist down?
Oh, then he's still able-bodied.
Well, he still has a mind. What if this person, what if they're still paralyzed from the neck down, but this person is brilliant when it comes to preparedness and survival and stuff? Would that change your answer? What if he was?
Well, that's not changing his answer, though, man. I mean, if the guy is screaming for you,
he doesn't have a choice. If he's paralyzed, he's fucking screwed anyway. So he's gonna lay there.
I'm just saying, but it's not. You know what I mean? If you're trying to talk the guy into staying alive, and all he wants to do is die, whether he's a genius or not, if you don't kill him, he's not going to be any good to anybody because he's not going. All he wants to do is die. He's not going to tell anybody shit. He's not going to try to fix nothing. He's not going to try to help anybody. You know what I mean?
Take the chance that you couldn't convince him?
Well, it's all in their mindset, man. I mean, you got 6 months for therapy? We're post-apocalyptic.
Well, hell yeah, we got all the time in the world.
I would think you'd rather be out collecting firewood and food and shit,
Well, you're in a group. You obviously have a field medic, so it's not like you're stranded out there in the middle of nowhere. There's some kind of community built if there's a field medic and all of that. So if that stuff is taken care of.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you.
Oh, come on. I like when you argue with me.
No.
Fine. Jared?
I'd still shoot him.
You'd still shoot him?
I mean, if it was his waist down, that's a whole different ball of wax, man.
Why?
Then the cat's still screaming for to kill him. Throw him a fucking gun with one bullet and say, "There you go. Roll your ass around the block and do it over there."
Do you think there's a way that you could convince somebody not to want to die? What if this person was your spouse? Would that change it?
Ask him.
Jared? We've gone from that person being your friend to now being your spouse.
Yeah.
No, this is Patrick.
I don't know. I'm going to stick with my original answer on this one. This one's got me pretty much stumped on this. I'm trying to envision it, and man, my first feeling is don't do it, and so.
Like somebody asked in chat, what are you going to do? Haul them around on your back for the rest of their life?
Oh, well, yeah. If you're climbing a mountain and you get paralyzed and there's, and you can't haul them around, and that's a different situation. But if there's a medic there and you're in your little group and they're saying, hey, they can continue living, but they're going to be paralyzed, that's kind of a different situation.
When I was a junior in high school, my grandmother had a stroke and was paralyzed. And I spent my junior and senior year of high school taking care of her. So I learned how to do catheters and, you name it. And she was paralyzed. There was nothing she could do. We were in a waiting game at that point. And even modern medicine couldn't fix anything. So we were in a waiting game for time, just to see if, her body could heal itself. But the woman had the mind she was brilliant, and it was worth taking care of her to get to know her and to learn the things that she knew. So I would be hesitant, very hesitant. And like you guys said, there's a lot of variables that you'd have to take into account. But I just could not I couldn't.
Watch the clock, Lori.
I agree.
Couldn't do it at all.
I got a quick card for one of you guys if you want to do one more card.
10 seconds.
Gotta hurry.
Oh, never mind. 10 seconds. Never mind.
Really? No, wait. We got to screw the end up. This wouldn't be the right show if we didn't screw the end up.
All right. Here we go. 2 conspiracies that you actually believe are true. Go.
JFK, 9/11.
Okay, that's good with me.
Okay.
Night, everybody.